Hello everybody, Captain Sidaris here. I guess everybody heard the rumors we're getting a new Homeworld title very soon if they don't postpone the release again. And yeah, for that reason I thought I will invite Captain Soban, a fellow YouTuber and longtime player of the Homeworld franchise. Hello sir, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm Captain Soban. I'm the Sobaniest of captains.
Before we go into the main topic, I always ask, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? How did you get into the game and into YouTube?
Let's see, for YouTube, honestly, I really enjoyed gameplay videos, especially when they started getting really big, like when Markiplier and PewDiePie were making those videos. And I was like, that looks really fun. I want to try that out. And so I decided to make my own. My first ones were of old games that I thought were really cool. Donkey Kong Country, Homeworld, Command and Conquer. And for some reason, every time I made a Homeworld video, it always got a decent amount of views. I mean, it was 10 at the time, but still, for your first videos on the channel, that's quite a lot. So I eventually started going through that avenue, and I started making Homeworld videos of what I really enjoyed about the franchise, which was kind of just messing around with ships and making the ships fight each other. For some reason, I always found that fascinating when you had one group of ships and you're like, I wonder if they can survive against this group of ships. So you put them up against each other and that was actually an entertaining battle. And I ended up making videos like that, and that's kind of what I'm known for now.
And what was your first Homeworld game? Was it the original or did you jump into the second part?
It was the original, the Homeworld 1 classic.
And would you also say it's your favorite or do you prefer the second part?
I actually prefer the second game that came out, Homeworld Cataclysm, which is more known as Homeworld Emergence now. Mainly because of the fact the storyline for that one is so good. There are certain lines in that game that still stick to me to this day because they hit me so hard.
To be honest, this is the only title I never played, especially since it wasn't included in the remastered version. And it's now only on GOG available. It's a little bit, yeah, I would even call it hidden content, which I didn't consume now.
Yeah, it's a really hidden gem that I kind of wish more people knew about it, but I personally think it was a really bad decision on Gearbox to not add that into the collection. Yeah, if you ever get the time, it's a really fun title.
Do you know maybe if the GOG version is really playable? Is it bugged or is it just working on Windows 11 and 10?
I can't vouch if it works on Windows 11 since I use Windows 10 personally, but there are some edits you can put to the shortcut to make it work fine on Windows 10. And I think Windows 7 as well, since it's an old game that was supposed to play on much older operating systems.
Yeah, I can remember many years ago, I tried to replay the original German disc version I have. It's doable, but it wasn't the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, I've heard people have a lot of issues trying to get that game to work right, and it sucks, but it is what it is.
Especially since the original version feels so different to the Homeworld Remastered version, if you consider only Homeworld 1.
Yes, I do agree with that. Homeworld 2 and Homeworld Remastered feel completely different compared to the classics Homeworld 1 and Homeworld Cataclysm. Probably because they were on a different engine, I'm assuming. But yeah, they do feel completely different when you compare the two.
I would say it's not only the engine, but also the interface and the feeling of doing the research. I currently replay or play for the first time Homeworld Remastered, the story. The multiplayer I played countless hours, but the story I never replayed in the new look. And the first thing I really felt was the new interface from Homeworld 2 in Homeworld 1. And yeah, I missed the old research interface that you really feel the benefit of having multiple research labs. It's, yeah, different.
Yeah, I remember the same thing when Homeworld Remastered came out. I immediately bought it because I was like, oh, this is original Homeworld, but with better graphics. It's was all excited about trying that out. And I remember playing the Homeworld 1 campaign since that was the one I was more familiar with. I'm like, This feels very weird. It's like formations don't work right. The harvester like attaches to the asteroid instead of spinning in circles like it does in classic. I'm like, this is very bizarre and kind of difficult to really get into.
But I have to say, it's an amazing feature that I have now a button after the mission is done to order all the ships back immediately and collect everything from the map.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite features too. That I know they fast forwarded in the remastered and Homeworld 2. You don't even get the harvest; it just does it for you automatically. But in Homeworld 1, Homeworld Cataclysm, once you beat the mission, then you got the satisfaction of harvesting the entire map and watching your RUs go up, and then try to figure out what you can do to expand your fleet for the next mission.
But sadly, I also have to say it kills a little bit the immersion. I had the mission in the Garden of Kadesh or something like that. Can't remember exactly the name now. Shame on me. I was basically in battle, but I could jump. So I jumped. And yeah, I still got over 2,000 resource points.
Oh wow! And you did that in remastered?
In Remastered, yeah.
Ah, interesting. I always had the habit of harvesting everything, so I never accidentally did something like that in the remastered. But that's interesting that that actually happened. I know if you did that in Homeworld 1, you would like kick yourself in the foot because it's like, oh god, I just left 5,000 RUs on the previous map and now I can't use it for this map.
Definitely, that's why I thought at the beginning, I will not hit this button. I will the classic feeling. But after that mission, I thought, okay, I can save a lot of time that way. It's always the curse of those instant gratification buttons. If they are there, you are tempted to use it. If it's not there, it's fine and you don't have another chance. It's fine.
Yeah, I try my best not to use those gratification buttons too much. I understand why they're there, to speed up the game and get to the next mission. But I don't know, there's just something relaxing about just, completing a mission and harvesting the rest of the map and then sitting there contemplating. I'm like, how many frigates, how much money are you going to make for how many frigates you might need for the next mission instead of just jumping straight to the action like you can in Homeworld 2. It's just, I don't know. That was just one of the things that put me off on Homeworld 2. And just, I don't know, felt out of place to me, I guess.
I'm totally with you on that point. But on the same side, I have to say, I'm older now. I have a family. I have limited time to play, to create videos. So I'm tempted, sadly. But I'm totally on your side. If, for example, I'm playing a hardcore survival game, I'm expecting the game to last for hours. And there is no instant gratification button. But yeah, sadly, it's here.
Yeah, I get that 100% as well. I have a full-time job, so I don't have a whole lot of time to, harvest the entire map and contemplate my frigates or my whatever I want to build for the next mission anymore. Because it's like, okay, I got 2 hours of free time. If I just hit the button and I can get through 5 missions, if I don't, I can get through 2 missions. What do I do?
Exactly.
So for me, it's a like a contemplation of like, I should do this because this is what I used to do as a kid, but now I don't have as much free time, so I can't do that as much. So I get that.
And what would you say is your favorite aspect in those games? What do you really enjoy?
I really enjoy the story, I think, of Homeworld, where the whole point of it, especially Homeworld 1, you have this massive ship that is supposed to go all the way to the other side of the galaxy, and you're supposed to protect this thing and research new technologies and new weaponry and new ship types to defend it against alien threats as you go on this like massive journey. And I don't know, as a kid, I just really wasn't too much into space. When I was like 5 years old, I remember watching my dad, he was watching Star Trek and I was watching with him and I just couldn't get into it. I was like, what, why are they in space? Why are they talking this big techno lingo language? And why are they shooting each other with lasers? I just couldn't understand it. But we went to, I think, Walmart at the time, because Walmart had the little gaming area where they had all the new up and coming PC games or new up and coming console games. And I remember, I think I was playing on the Nintendo 64 in Walmart, and my dad comes up to me with like 2 games. He's like, hey, both of these look really cool. Which one should we try? And one was Homeworld, the other one was Free Space. And I remember like pointing, I think originally I pointed at free space and my dad looks at it and goes, I don't think our computer is powerful enough to run this. So let's get the other game. And so we bought Homeworld, took it home, and I remember playing it with him and watching the opening scene, where the mothership is in the scaffold getting ready to undock, and the whole like scene is going on where they're like preparing the mothership for its first jump, and I just freaking fell in love with it. Was like, holy crap, this is so awesome! I cannot wait to join these people on their epic journey across the galaxy. And so Homeworld is one of the games that got me into space and got me into the whole exploration thing. And thank you so much for Free Space for being too powerful to play on my computer. Otherwise, I'd be a Free Space fan right now instead of a Homeworld fan.
Oh, that genre is also very big and has an unlimited supply on mods. So in your second life, you can play that.
I have recently gotten into Free Space and I do quite enjoy it. But I eventually want to do more series of that on the channel.
I guess since you're also a long-time player, you also explored the modding side.
When I was younger, I didn't, for a couple of reasons. One, at the time, we didn't really have internet. We did have dial-up, but we had to use that for phone connections, not internet connections. So we weren't really allowed to go on the internet to like look at modding. I also didn't really know what modding was back when I was like a kid. But it wasn't until I think high school when I was playing Homeworld 2 with one of my best friends, where he called me one day. He's like, dude, I just got this cool mod for Homeworld 2. You should come over later on and check it out. And so I did. And he was playing Homeworld Complex. I think it was 7.4.4 was the version. And I was like, is this Homeworld? What the heck is this? And he was telling me like all the different UIs, the different ships you could build, how they set up the economy and the promotional systems for your ships. And I was like, holy crap, this is like so cool. I was just like completely fascinated watching him play this. And later that night, he told me like where he got it and how he installed it on his computer. So I installed it on my computer, and I think we ended up playing Complex together against AI, and it was a lot of fun. I was like, holy crap, I didn't know that you could change like the complete structure of a game to like just completely change the feel and the vibe of it and just make it so much cooler, honestly.
So you really got into the hardcore modding aspect, because that title is really heavy for a beginner.
Yeah, that was my first like deep dive into modding, when I was just like, holy crap, this is really cool.
I remember Homeworld was also for me the eye-opening into the world of modding, basically. I started simpler. I started with Sacrifice of Angels, Star Trek Total Conversion mod, and it only changed the skins and weapons and damage effects, but at the core it was still Homeworld. And the complex mod, yeah, it's really complex. It's hardcore.
Yeah, we learned the reason why it was called that pretty quickly. The complex team picked a good job picking that name out for it, and it suits it really well.
It's perfect for that, yeah. And what would you say is your favorite mod?
Favorite mod? Can it be Homeworld or like any game?
Oh, give me both.
Trying to think of all the mods I've played.
Yeah, there are many.
Yeah, there's so many. I mean, Complex is definitely one of my favorites. It's the one that introduced me in the modding and the whole like fact you can mod Homeworld. Man, that's a tough one. I know recently I haven't really been playing other people's mods. I've been playing my old mods I've been developing, which are a lot of fun, but that's also biased saying that.
Well, we can also rephrase the question and go more in the direction of, do you still prefer to play the vanilla version of the game, or do you play the modded?
I think I prefer to play the modded version, primarily because I played the game so much as a kid, so I know like how the vanilla game works, like in and out. Like I know exactly what you have to do to beat the campaign. I know how the whole storyline. So I'd say I definitely prefer playing Homeworld modded. Back when I was younger, I played Warcraft 3 a lot, and I remember that there were these dungeon crawler maps that people would make that you could play, where you select a hero and you go through like all these like mobs and whatnot, level up your hero and try to make it through the entire game. And that's actually what got me into actually like starting to mod things. because I was so fascinated that Warcraft 3 had a built-in software that you could load, so you can make your own heroes, and then you can adjust their stats, adjust their experience required to level, adjust like what abilities they have, and that actually got me into the whole concept of doing mods.
And would you say this still keeps you in game? Is this the reason why you still play the game after so many years?
Yeah, I would say so. Because now I'm a lot more interested in actually modding games than actually playing them. At least I've noticed it gets me a lot more excited to get in the game and mess around with something and load the game up and see like what it adjusts. It's always hilarious when you load a game up and you're like, okay, that weapon system is supposed to shoot every half a second, not 0.05 seconds. Okay, I gotta go back to drawing board and figure out why that's happening. So like that aspect of modding is always really fun and fascinating for me.
So I see you are a technical guy who likes to dive really into the aspects, into every aspect of the game.
Yeah, I like learning about the game, and usually when I mod, I do it based off of emotional responses, which is a weird way to mod, but it works a lot great for me. Basically, I'll like set some stats for like ships, and I'll tell them to fight each other, and I'll be like, okay, so the ship on the right feels too strong, and then based off of my emotional response of that, I'll just adjust it a little bit more, do the test again, and be like, okay, that feels a lot more balanced. So in my hardcore mods I've been working on, that's usually how I balance all of the ships out, based off of kind of how I feel like the ship should look or should act lore-wise, and how I emotionally feel about them engaging each other. Instead of like based off of like a spreadsheet of this weapon needs to do 40 damage every 4 seconds. Yeah, I don't. My brain doesn't work that way. It's like, okay, let's do 4 seconds. That feels too fast. Let's do 4.5. Still too fast. Let's do 4.75. Perfect.
I guess you can answer the next question also very easily since you know everything about the game. What is your favorite faction and ship?
Let's see. My favorite faction in Homeworld would have to be Kushan. Not only because that faction got me into Homeworld and got me into space and curiosity of space and exploration, but because their ships are just so simple. Like a lot of them are just boxes with guns, and for some reason, I admire that. I admire the dedication of a box with ions and kinetic cannons just killing things. It's just, I don't know. It's really fun and entertaining to me.
On the same note, what is your favorite box or ship?
I would have to say the Kushan Destroyer. There's something about it that I just completely admire. It's got 2 ion weapons for powerful offense, 2 kinetic weapons to help out with smaller targets. And I don't know, it just looks like a commanding ship to me. Like it looks like it could be like a really small version of a command ship. Like if you would like blow it up, or like just the way it's designed. I don't know. I just really appreciate it. It looks really cool.
Do you also play sometimes multiplayer or do you more play skirmish?
I primarily play skirmish against the AI. Players are cool, but I kind of just grew up just playing the game by myself and just messing around with the AI and just trying to see like what kind of like defenses I can make to where the AI can't get through, and then I could just sit there and drink some tea while the AI tries to figure out how to get through 5 destroyers. It's just defensive stuff like that always like fascinates me and makes me chuckle. So players will easily find a way around that, and I'm just like, oh yeah, you're an actual human being. I can't use this strategy against you.
Yeah, it's definitely more relaxing playing against AI. Since you also experienced all the different versions of this game, of this franchise, what would you say is your favorite feature?
My favorite in-game feature is the feature I use all the time in my videos, the attack anything command. If you play Homeworld 1 or Homeworld Cataclysm, I think it's also in Remastered, but don't quote me on that one. If you hold down Control Shift, you can make a box and you can tell your ship to fight anything, including your own ships, which is one of the secrets of how I make my own videos.
Control and Shift?
Yes, if you hold down Control Shift at the same time and make a box, you can tell it to fight anything. Your own ships, nearby asteroids, enemy ships. It's a really cool command.
That's interesting. I, of course, know the box for attack all the enemy in the box, but everything? That's nice. That's really nice.
I kind of wish more games actually had that feature because it makes for some hilarious content, and it's just I don't know. I just if you have a ship and you're telling it to attack something, it should have the ability to attack its friend. Just feels like a commander might need that command for just personal reasons, I think.
Definitely in space RTS games. I just think of the mission where you have to fly through the asteroid field and you have to click on all the different asteroids.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's really simple that way.
Yeah, I think you're talking about mission 6, right? Where you have to defend the mothership against asteroids.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very useful for that one. I think that might have been the mission when I discovered that ability. I was like, huh, okay, this is really cool.
Yeah, I tried the normal attack order for groups basically, and it semi-worked, but not really. So I sticked with clicking every asteroid myself, but I will try that again. We now know, of course, what you really like on the feature side of the game, but is there also something which you don't like?
The only thing I could think of on top of my head is the thing that we kind of discussed a little bit earlier about how Homeworld 2 kind of forces you to go to the next mission. I really do like that time of just relaxing and figuring out what you want to do for the next mission instead of just jumping into the next one. That really annoys me with Homeworld 2. I can't think of a single thing that annoys me in Classic. Because usually if something annoys me, it's just because your fleet isn't big enough. Which is any RTS, honestly. If it annoys you, it just means you don't have enough units.
What would you say about the AI? Is it a good AI or is it shallow maybe?
It's script-based, which basically means that the AI is a bunch of coding that constantly refreshes every few game frames. So it can only be as good as that script, which probably for its time period was really good, but for nowadays, no, it's not the best. It's very predictable once you figure out how it actually works. I have not checked out Homeworld 2's AI or Homeworld Remastered, so I can't vouch on how good they are. I do know that when you put them to adaptive, they do seem to be kind of smart, where basically adaptive means that they'll build the opposite of what you build. So if you build a bunch of ion cannon frigates, which are good against capital ships, the AI will build a bunch of bombers to counter you. If you build, I don't know, like a bunch of heavy corvettes, which are good against corvettes, then the enemy will build like a bunch of things that are anti-corvette. So they build the opposite of what you build so that they can counter you better, which is a good, RTS strategy, but it's also predictable after a while.
Yeah, that's also my gripe with the AI. It's too predictable. I never had the feeling it's a tough battle. Sometimes they surprise you or you make a mistake sometimes, sadly, and they have the upper hand. But in general, the AI is really beatable.
Mm-hmm.
In other games, they are a little bit more of a challenge. You mentioned it's an older AI. Sadly, most RTS AIs are on the older sides because we don't get many RTS titles nowadays. So hopefully Homeworld 3 will be better on that aspect.
Yeah, I'm hoping so too. Hoping the AI can take advantage of like environments or stuff like that most modern players do nowadays. So I'm actually really curious to see how well the Homeworld 3 AI comes out when the game comes out.
Of course, I also would like to know a few of your favorite memories about the game. You played this game for so many years now, I guess there are one or two.
Yeah, there's quite a bit. I would definitely say one of my favorite memories is the very first one I have of watching the mothership undock from the scaffold and get ready for its first hyperdrive launch. That blew my mind as a kid and made me fall in love with the franchise. Another one is Mission 10 in Homeworld Classic, where you have to build a fleet and then make your way through a bunch of radiation to destroy a research station. The fact that your ships could take damage in the environment also blew my mind. I remember as a kid, I would take a bunch of a small portion of my fleet out into the radiation. Usually it would be like a destroyer, a couple frigates, maybe a couple like 3 or 4 heavy corvettes with like 4 support frigates. I'll tell the support frigates to keep everyone alive, and I'll move the fleet into the radiation, and I'll just sit there and watch as the support frigates try to keep the whole fleet alive. And then after 5 or 10 minutes, things would start falling apart, and then everyone would just die because the support frigates couldn't keep up with the radiation. And that just, I don't know, that was just entertainment for me. That was just like really fascinating. And that was one of like my favorite memories of, figuring out how a whole fleet, concept works of healing things while they take damage and learning basic RTS mechanics.
So I see you like explosions.
I like explosions, yes. It can be quite fun.
They can, but they can also be frustrating. And maybe to combat that, what can you recommend a new player starting this game for the first time?
Be patient. Homeworld is not a game that you just go through super fast and beat it within like 3 hours. It is definitely a slow paced game, and it's definitely a thinker game. So as you're like building up your fleet and then trying to figure out what's good against what and what's bad against what and managing your resources, just take your time, save frequently, and be patient. That's about the best advice I can give.
And I also have to ask for a tip. As I currently replay the game, I often have the urge to tell my repair corvettes to heal the entire group, but I don't find any commands which does exactly that. I have to single click every damaged ship. Is there a way around that?
Are you talking about the remastered?
The remastered version, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
In the original Homeworld, I have the memory that more or less they do that automatically. They just look around in their own group and heal each other or the damaged ships.
Yeah, usually in Classic, they when you tell them to repair a group of ships, it goes into a queue. So they'll like look at a ship, be like, okay, that one's healed. And they'll look at another ship, okay, that one's healed. And then look at another one, be like, oh, that one's damaged, and start healing that one. And just they use it as a queue system that loops over and over and over. But remastered, I have no idea. I didn't know that they actually healed one ship at a time. That you couldn't tell it to heal multiple ships like you can in Classic. That's interesting to know.
Yeah, maybe I figure it out in the future. I hope so, because it's a little bit on the annoying side if you have 5 or 10 damaged ships in the group and you always have to tell them to go for each after they are done.
That sounds very annoying, and I wish you luck with that.
Well, I'm already in mission 12, so Homeworld 1 is nearly done. Homeworld 2 starts in 2 days, I guess.
Nice.
You also mentioned that you are modding yourself. What can you tell me about your mod?
Yes, I have 2 mods currently, Homeworld 1 Hardcore and Homeworld Cataclysm Hardcore. Basically, the point of the mods is to make the game harder and adjust some things in the game that I always thought wasn't like correctly balanced, and make the enemy fleets larger. So you have to be a little bit more tactical and a little bit more protective of your resources and stuff. So primarily what I've done is make ships more expensive. So like super capitals are like anywhere between like 4 to 7,000, I think, depending on the super capital. They also take longer to build. Resourcing takes a little bit longer. This encourages you to have an actual like mining fleet instead of just 1 or 2 harvesters. Super capitals and motherships, actually I think all of the ships have more health, and this forces you to use the weaknesses that you're supposed to use in Homeworld 1, because if you want to take them down fast, you want to hit them in the butt, which is their weak spot. So like the mothership, I think, has 1.2 million health in my mod, where in Classic it had 200,000. So yeah, there's a lot of health buffs going on, but it also balances out if you have a larger fleet. So that's one of the reasons I did that. But yeah, the primary focus is to make the game harder, make resources worth more. Not really worth more, but more valuable, I guess, in the aspect of the player, since ships are more expensive. And yeah, just mess around with that, and it's just a lot of fun right now. And Homeworld 1 is basically done. The Homeworld 1 Homeworld hardcore mod. I'm just working on modifying the campaign to make the AI and make the ships that you fight more plentiful, to make the campaign a little bit more difficult.
And what was the inspiration to go into the modding?
There was a mod I played for Homeworld 2 Remastered. I forget the exact name. Let me look it up real quick. But basically what they did is they made all the ships have like 10 times more health. And I played the mod for a bit, and I was just like, holy crap, this like completely changes the vibe of the game. So I started messing around with that concept for my mod, and then they're not 10 times like they were in this person's mod. But it did make the game feel a lot better, and made like super capitals like actual super capitals instead of like ships with like 3 times more health than a frigate. So one moment. It's called Engagements. It was a mod that took all of the values of every ship in the game and upped it by 10, and really changed the feel the feel and play of the game.
And when did you start modding? How long is this ago?
Homeworld 1, I started modding that, I think, back in like August, like last August, 2023. And Cataclysm, I've been modding that for about a month. And at the moment, I'm just balancing ships out and adjusting their health pools and whatnot and testing them in combat. Now, it's not ready for release anytime soon. Yeah, I'm pretty new at it, but it's still a lot of fun.
I also wonder, how easy is it to mod the game? Did you find a lot of resources online? Are there still some wikis or forums online?
Nope, I found a software that allowed me to open up the ship files, and I started messing with the health values and doing what I normally do, spawning them on a map and telling them to kill each other and adjusting them from there. Like, basic modding in Homeworld is not too difficult. You can use the notepad built into Windows to mod ship values and whatnot. But the more advanced modding, like the like placing like additional asteroids on the map or making it to where the enemy has like 5 ion cannon frigates instead of 3, that one's a little bit more complex and it requires you to know like how seeing a string of code like makes sense in your brain. And then I think there's even more advanced modding that I don't know how to do, which is like the modeling itself of like changing the ship's design and stuff like that. I'm not a 3D modeler. I have no idea how that works, but you can totally do that in Homeworld if you wanted to.
Is there still an active modding community out there? And is there a place where you can find the community good?
Yes, actually there is, and there's a modding community I'm actually part of called the Homeworld Mod Database Server, where Hero Crafter, who, if you guys have ever been in the Homeworld modding area, you'll probably know his name. He made a bunch of mods way back in the day for Homeworld 2, and he's currently modding Homeworld Cataclysm Remastered. That's the project he's been working on. Yeah, he runs that server, and there's a bunch of different modders for like point defense systems and a bunch of different ones that kind of just work together with each other and work on their own mods there.
I guess by server you mean a Discord server?
Yes, sorry. It's a Discord server.
Oh, sad. Oh, of course, it's great that we have a community, but my problem with Discord is it's a gated community. You can't Google it, basically. So it would be nice to have those resources, those mods and the experience to mod in general out there on a wiki, on a forum. I know I'm old school. I like the internet on the website. Yeah, it's too gated with Discord.
I hear you there. I don't talk a whole lot in the modding community, mainly just because I'm more of an introvert and I don't really talk to people. But there's a good place. But I understand the whole like wanting to be old school and wanting to be like open to everyone. I know like a lot of I don't know if this is just common in the Homeworld modding community, but a lot of them like to keep their projects together when part of their like own little community.
Sadly, it's not only in the Homeworld community. It's a general problem that a lot of the information is on Discords now. And yeah, I experienced it many times that one bad apple in the community can lead to total destruction sometimes. There were Discords which basically lost all their channels or were deleted because one admin overstepped his boundaries. Yeah, it's not good to have everything on Discord if you want to archive your stuff. If you just have the information for yourself and for your friends and you mod for your friends, okay. But if you want to use this modern technology called the internet, I think, yeah, a mod database and internet and forum and wikis would be nice and a little bit necessary. Sorry, guys, if you hear that.
As long as the information is available, it usually doesn't bother me, but I totally get the whole like not wanting it to be gated, open to the public. I get that 100%.
Which doesn't, of course, mean that the entire development of a mod has to be public. I don't want to get that impression out there. But the general information about the project, the tips and tricks for newbies, I think this should always be out there and not gated. Another thing I would like to know, you mentioned a lot the classic version, the remastered version and the expansion in Cataclysm. Is the game code very different between the versions, or is it very similar?
I believe for Homeworld 1 and Homeworld Cataclysm, their coding is very similar. Like, as I've been making the Cataclysm Hardcore mod, I've noticed that there's actually unused coding from Homeworld 1 in it, because they just disabled that part of the coding and made something else. But Homeworld 2 and I believe Homeworld Remastered use the same coding, because Homeworld Remastered, unfortunately, is just a heavily modded and heavily graphically upgraded version of Homeworld 2. And the reason I know this is if you well, you have been playing Homeworld Mastered, but if you zoom in on a ship, most likely like your resource collector or whatnot, there's an engine glitch where the engine will stay on until you pause the game. And this is relevant, or this is in Homeworld 2 as well. They never fixed that glitch, and it's actually in Homeworld 2 or Homeworld Remastered. And so that's how I know they're the same engine. I have no idea how to code in them. That's kind of just my proof.
And the classic versions which came with Homeworld Remastered, are they really classic, or are they also modded or changed?
I believe they're changed. The classic campaign that you're playing right now and Remastered is from the Homeworld 2 engine. They just made the Homeworld 1 map and all the audio and stuff whatnot, and made it to where it's that. Because like I said kind of earlier in the interview, where the workers, or not, I keep calling workers, I've been playing Cataclysm too much. That's what the harvesters are called in Cataclysm. But the resource collectors that attach to the asteroid and then turn their phased assimilator array on, I think that's what it's called, the brown beam that actually harvests the map. Yeah, they're not supposed to attach like that. They're supposed to spin in circles around it. So that's what the harvesters do in Homeworld 2. They attach to the asteroid and slowly devour it. So that's, again, just a model and texture replacement to make it more like Homeworld 1.
So that is also in the classic version, because when you start Homeworld Remastered, you have the interface and you can select Homeworld 1 or the original classic version, and that's also there?
Yes, I believe that is there, and I believe the differences between that one and like actual classic Homeworld is the code has been updated so that it works properly on modern systems, and it works with Steam. So they can actually launch it through Steam instead of needing a CD-ROM for it. But it works exactly the same as classic. Well, there's one difference. In classic, you can build all of your ships at the same time, where in that one, you can only build 2 of each category at the same time. So like a destroyer and a heavy cruiser at the same time, ion frigate, assault frigate at the same time, etc.
I see. Yeah, to my shame, I never played the classic version of the remastered version. I only played the disc version back then many times.
Yeah, same. I didn't really play the classic version that came with the remastered bundle. I booted it up to see if it worked, and kind of messed around with it in skirmish, but that's about it. I didn't actually like play the campaign or anything.
Well, and like I mentioned in the beginning, there will be soon, hopefully soon, a Homeworld 3. What do you think about that?
I'm very excited. I cannot wait for Homeworld 3 to come out. I do understand why they decided to delay it a little bit longer, because I'm sure you're aware that the demo version of the game came out and they gave it to a bunch of YouTubers and streamers to check it out, and of course other people that want it, and they gave them their feedback. They realized that the community wanted some changes to the game before it was fully released, and so they set it back a couple months so they can work on bug fixes and changes that the community wanted, which I'm 100% for. Any company, especially a big company, that listens to the community and makes adjustments and delays their the release to make the community happy is I'm 100% for. But when Homeworld 3 does come out, I'm planning to go dark. I'm planning to kind of just go away for a while and go into the game completely blind. I am planning to make a series on my channel on it, but I'm going to play it like I did with all the other Homeworld games. Homeworld 1, I knew nothing about when I went into. Same with Cataclysm, and same with Homeworld 2. So I'm going to do the same exact thing, and hopefully it'll be a really good series. Might be a lot of death, probably will be a lot of death, but I think it will be really fun.
And do you also have some wishes for the new game? For example, a nice manual or good modding support?
Modding support I would definitely want. One, not only for eventually I would like to make a hardcore version of that way down the line once I figure out how all that stuff works. There's a lot of people in the Homeworld community are already talking about mods that they want to make for it. So I know it'll make a lot of people happy if they have good modding support. But honestly, the UI looks good, and if it performs really well, and if it's really fun and balanced, I'll be happy.
I'm really curious what this new co-op feature will bring us. I'm a big co-op fan. I like to play together and not in PvP. Okay, sometimes PvP is nice, but in general, like casual games where I have just fun. And yeah, I hear it will include a co-op feature. Curious to see what this brings us.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious myself because that's the first time I've heard about that. So that's awesome to hear. I'm curious if maybe they'll have like a small mini campaign that we can do with people cooperatively, or if it would be like, where you're skirmishing, 2v2, stuff like that, like we used to do way back in the day. But yeah, I'm very curious about that as well. I'm curious to see if it's going to change the gameplay, because I remember way back in the day when Red Alert 3 came out and they made the campaign cooperative, it kind of broke it. It made the game way too easy having two players fighting the AI, and they made it to where every single map was like that, where you always had two players fighting AI on a map. It made it way too easy, but that's also because I'm a big Command and Conquer fan and I know how those games work. Hopefully they don't do something like that in Homeworld 3, but I'm still very curious to see what their actual plans are going to be.
Yeah, I hope it's not only skirmish. Sometimes publisher developers will advertise a game with the co-op function, and yeah, it's only skirmish, which you can play together basically against AI, which isn't really co-op for me. I like really the story or scripted missions. Doesn't have to be the real story, but at least something you can achieve together.
Yeah, I'm a little bit like that as well. I definitely do enjoy, like, if you have just a buddy and you want to hang out with and try to figure something out together, it can be a lot of fun, especially if it's something really difficult. Like, I have a buddy of mine right now where we're playing on World of Warcraft Hardcore, and it's a completely different game when if you make a mistake and your character dies, you have to start all the way from scratch. And it makes the game very, very challenging, and you have to be very careful in it. But challenges like that are always so much more fun with friends.
Definitely, definitely. I also love LAN parties where you have a big challenge like World of Warcraft Classic or survival games like DayZ. A lot of funny situation can happen in that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that's a little bit already on the off-topic side, so I would like to open the mic to you. Is there anything you would like to touch which we didn't talk about?
Not that I know of on top of my head. I think we covered a pretty good chunk of it.
Well, then let me say thank you for joining me. It was nice talking to you, and I'm really curious trying your mod out now and buying the expansion pack from GOG, Homeworld Cataclysm. Like I said, I never played it and I have to play it at some point.
Yeah, no problems, man. Let me know, because I think I might be able to send it to you and help get it set up in your computer so you can play it.
Oh, thank you. I will definitely come back to that.
Yeah, no problem.
But for now, I would say that's it for this video. Leave us a comment, tell us what you think about the game, and of course, play the game. Until next time.